Hi, welcome to Entertainment Insider. My name is Gene Triplett, entertainment editor for the Oklahoman and News OK. I'm here with George Lang, Brandy McDonald, and Matt Price, the whole entertainment crew. And it's the Oscars are all over. The envelopes have been opened, statues passed out for the 81st time, and it's all over now but the weeping. So do you guys, did you see any surprises among the winners and losers last night?
Not really. Not really. I mean, I would say that, we talked about this, the best actress. We really didn't think that Penelope Cruz was going to win that, or best supporting actress. She wasn't head and shoulders above any of the other performers. Personally, I thought that Viola Davis could have gotten that.
Under the old Judi Dench rule,
yes,
that you play a very, very impactful role in a very short period of time and create a turning point in a movie, and bam, you get an Oscar.
That's right.
But it didn't work out that way. There was quite a bit of Harvey Weinstein campaigning.
Yes.
That seemed to definitely turn in Penelope Cruz's favor.
That's right. And that wasn't the only instance, but we'll get back to that. We'll get to that shortly.
Too surprised by much, but I did think Benjamin Button maybe did a little better in the technical categories than I would have expected.
Right,
Well,
and
I
we
think
could have
they-
seen some more Dark Knight in there.
Right. Well, I think that they kind of had to do a little bit of something for Benjamin Button. It did go in with a leading 13 nominations in just about every category. It came headlong into a certain Slumdog Millionaire and just got beat almost every time.
Yes,
So
a monsoon.
Yes, it was it was a monsoon that swept through Hollywood.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, let's talk about the show itself. How do you rate Hugh Jackman's job as the master of ceremonies this year?
I thought that he did fine, given the material that he was provided. But I think that just the conceit that Hollywood had to cut corners and do this sort of cheesy opening thing with really bad sets. I thought it was condescending, to people who are going
Really
through
awful.
a rough time in the economy right now. To pretend like Hollywood's having it rough, that's not fooling anybody. I thought it was slightly in bad taste, didn't you?
Well, it really set a kind of a disingenuous, kind of awkward tone, I thought, for the evening to kind of come across as, hey, we had to build these in our basements because the economy's bad. It's like, oh, yeah, no, you didn't. Please be quiet. I really thought that as far as being a comfortable, charismatic host, Jackman did a good job, but I thought that the show made way too many concessions for what he does really well at the expense of making the show unbearably long. I mean, the whole musical number in the middle that with him and Beyonce Knowles that paid tribute to
Grease?
Mamma Mia and Grease and High School Musical 3, some of which were not even out in 2008 and none of which were nominated for Oscars.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a little just completely ridiculous, and it was clearly done to give Jackman a showcase, but it's not supposed to be about him. It's supposed to be about the Oscar nominees.
Right.
I enjoyed the opening bit quite a bit, even though I can see what you're saying with the props, but I thought the lyrics were funny. The Anne Hathaway as Richard Nixon thing had me rolling.
That was pretty funny.
And the I am Wolverine at the end.
Big closer.
that's
So
good.
I enjoyed that. I thought Jackman was pretty charming. I thought, when Will Smith was up there for a while, he was pretty charming. It's just too long, though. And the Baz Luhrmann spectacle, we could have done without. Peter Gabriel doesn't get to sing, but we watched this whole thing, so
Yes.
Right.
that didn't seem like a good use of time.
And I want to mention the montages. The montages were freak shows last night because they didn't make sense half the time.
At the end, it made no sense at all.
Wildly random, and there was that whole sequence that was about apparently cradle robbing, which I thought, I was like, where did this come from?
This is our theme.
But
Cradle robbing.
at least those sequences included Oscar winners. I mean, the problem I had were the montages that included things like you had the big romance in 2008 montage that highlighted Twilight and High School Musical 3
That was a
and
little
Mamma
weird.
Mia. It's like, these don't have anything to do with the Oscars.
But juxtaposing Braveheart and Milk.
That was
that was
crazy.
bizarre.
It's weird, but at least they're Oscar nominees. I mean, there were clips from Rambo and Space Chimp shown last night, for heaven's sakes, people, in a 4-hour show. This should not exist.
They were just pulling tapes off the shelves at Blockbuster. Let's throw all this together.
Even though Pineapple Express didn't receive any nominations, the Pineapple Express bit was one of my favorite bits.
Especially with the Franco kiss.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
was classic.
That was great, and also they were using scenes from The Wrestler. The whole idea of the being stapled part that was pretty funny in a painful kind of way, but funny.
I thought it was a nice touch, though, that they brought back the past Oscar winners to introduce the different acting categories. I sure never expected to see Eva Marie Saint again. And there she was, looking great. Did you all enjoy that part of it at all?
I liked seeing those people, but I thought that the presentation of it itself,
It looked
a little American Idol, I think, as somebody mentioned in the chat room, is that we were conferring upon you the order of the Oscars. You know? It was like some kind of star chamber coming up on stage.
Well, and I didn't mind the presentation. I thought it was a nice tribute to the past and the present winner. But again, time becomes an issue. That's a long way to do it, and if you're going to do that, you have to make concessions. Otherwise, like say, cut out 1 or 2 or 10 montages.
Right.
It kind of felt like they might just go around and they'd say guilty, and then they'd send Kate Winslet to the Phantom Zone.
They should all be wearing robes, like they just
Right.
come from Krypton or something.
Any nagging disappointments as far as the Oscar contenders this year? Who was nominated and who was left out?
Yes, Wall-E wasn't there, and Dark Knight was not there, and I really think that we were talking about Harvey Weinstein's campaign on behalf of Penelope Cruz. It was evident with the reader. When people look back on 2008, they're not going to be thinking about the reader. No. They're going to be thinking about films that were both massive critical successes and commercial successes, and I really think that the nominating process should have recognized both of those films, which were both excellent and really made an impact with people.
I really think you could have made an argument that the spot that was given to the reader for Best Picture should have gone to Wall-E or The Dark Knight or The Wrestler. All three of those movies could have made good cases that they were more deserving. They're certainly going to be more memorable, I feel,
Absolutely.
and definitely they're going to have more of an impact on the cultural landscape down the road.
I think those are the three you can argue about, certainly Wall-E, Dark Knight, The Wrestler. Now, Wall-E gets Best Animated, so he at least gets in there. Dark Knight gets its Ledger Award and picks up one other, but The Wrestler gets nothing, gets shut out, and I think that's pretty unfortunate.
But I think playing this concession game, we'll give you a consolation prize. I've always had a problem with that. If a film is great, let's say it. But settling for giving them this this sort of like sideline prize instead of putting them in contention. Just put them in contention.
But I think you could make the same argument for Stephen Daldry being nominated as Best Director and Darren Aronofsky being left off. So, or Andrew Stanton or Chris Nolan. I mean, I think any of those people had a good argument that their film and their directing job was more deserving.
Great films across the board. I just don't think I don't think it reflected the year quite as well as it could have.
Okay, so there you have it. The 81st annual Oscars are over and done with. I think the consensus here is that it was way too long.
Oh, yes.
And they still need to
finally
work on
over.
the production itself. And hopefully we don't have to wait till December to see some more Oscar-worthy movies. But anyway, that's it for us this week on Entertainment Insider. Thanks for looking in, and we'll talk to you again next week.